This is Parshat Emor, a short one entitled Alexander the Not So Great. And what we're talking about here is the Midrash brings two different examples of military campaigns that were embarked on by Alexander the Great. And of course, the backdrop of this is, that the Kohanim are supposed to be moral leaders of society, and you're supposed to turn to them for judgment, and society in general did not reflect the best morals as embodied in Alexander the Great. So the first military campaign is a country that is all women, and he wants to attack that country, but the head of that country comes out and greets him and puts a stop to it and says, listen, two things going to happen. Either you will defeat a country of women and you will be the laughing stock because people are going to say, well, big deal, you defeated a country of all women. Or the other possibility is you're going to lose, and then you'll be an even bigger laughing stock. So you have no reason to pursue any kind of war with us. So Alexander the Great gets the hint and moves on. The second example the Midrash gives is a country only identified as Africa. And again, he comes to this country and the king greets him and says, let me show you an example of justice in our country. Just like we know the famous stories of Shlomo, who was acting as a judge. He was a king but acted as a judge. So here too, in this country in Africa, the king was also a judge. And he let Alexander the Great sit in on a case. And what was the case? There was somebody who sold some property to someone else, and there was some kind of dilapidated building, and under it, the person who bought the property found some gold, and he insisted on giving the gold back to the person who sold him the property. He said, you did not intend to give me this gold when you sold me this dilapidated house on this property. I want you to take it back. And the other person was saying, no, that's my tough luck. I sold you the property, and you deserve to keep the gold because it was in the property that you got. You got the property and everything that was there. So they were arguing about this. They came before the king, and the king wisely said, ask one side, do you have a daughter? The other one, do you have a son? Why does your son marry your daughter so that this gold can stay in the family, and in some way both can benefit, and it's a good way to work this out. And so he turned to Alexander the Great and said, what do you think of the judgment? What do you think of the moral standing of our country? And Alexander the Great said, if I was judging this case, I would have killed everybody and taken the gold. So you see, as I said in the outset, that this is, the parsha about Kohanim and the morality that we're supposed to have and who we're supposed to turn to for moral guidance in Judaism, as opposed to the morals of what's out there of Alexander the Great, who just pursued power, and he got his way by exploitation and by murder and by theft. So it's a great, a great foil to what the ethics that Judaism has set up. Have a great Shabbos.